Hi guys, I'm gonna do a little gardening video and just some weather update for those of you who are somewhere else in the United States, different than Florida or Arizona. It's January 5th, 2018. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 74 degrees. I'm loving it. So it's been a great season for growing stuff right now this winter, because at night the temperatures are in the mid-50s, during the day mid-70s. It's just perfect, and it's gonna be like this for at least another 2 weeks. So I'm gonna start and go around and show you what I'm growing and how things are doing. Not everything is doing great, but one by one I will show you everything. 74 degrees, that's like 25 degrees Celsius. So this is my orange tree, and as you can see, not very many oranges left. Let me see what you can see actually. Okay, you can see it. So I only have a few oranges left here that are still a little green. I had a lot more, they're inside. I filmed them inside, so these are the oranges that I already picked, and we actually already ate maybe 6 or 7 of them. But these need to stay for another few days. And the reason I started picking them up early is because, as you can see, birds started eating them. So, so I had to pick them up a little bit earlier. And they're not touching the grapefruit tree though, I'll show you, but I don't have that many grapefruits either, so hopefully they don't touch them. So on the grapefruit this year, unlike last year, I don't have very many grapefruits. It's still plenty though, I'm not complaining. However, they didn't grow to size. They're already ripening, but they're not big. I don't have this huge grapefruits that I had last year, and I'm thinking that it might have been the heat in the summer when we had 120 degrees. Back then they were about that big and they were still green, so I'm not quite sure what happened. But you can see that's during the heat all these guys started dropping. These are all grapefruits over here that started dropping, a lot of them during the week that we had between 115 and 120 degrees heat. So, but I'm still happy. There are quite a few grapefruits, and I'm gonna start picking them soon. And as I said, with the grapefruits, no bird damage at all, none. So that's good. Knock on wood. So moving along, and here are the oranges. As I said, we ate quite a few of them, but as you can see, just as the grapefruit, they didn't grow to size. Some of them actually we ate the biggest ones. They were a little bit bigger than this one. And I'm assuming it's because of the heat. I have no other explanation, but I'm happy I got oranges, because last year that tree didn't produce a single orange. So I'm happy with whatever I can get. So this is the beefsteak tomato that I started from seed back in August, I think it was. And on a beefsteak plant, I so far only have 1 tomato. Okay, so here is the beefsteak tomato, just one of them. A lot of blossoms. Now I think this one right over here, I think this one is gonna turn into tomato as well. I did have a lot of blossoms, but they just didn't, and I did pollinate them, but they didn't turn into tomatoes. And here I'm gonna try and show you the ones that I'm pretty sure are gonna turn into tomatoes. So this guy right over here and this guy right over here, I'm sure are gonna turn into tomatoes. And the way I can tell is the little handle over here, it starts getting thicker. I observed that with tomatoes, that if the handle starts getting thicker, that means that they're gonna form a tomato. And let me see over here somewhere, I saw another one. Yeah, this one I think it's gonna become a tomato too, because you see this one, you see how skinny that is and yellow? That's not gonna become a tomato, but this one will. And this one has plenty of blossoms going on, so hopefully I get more beefsteak tomatoes. But the next tomato plant, it's going nuts. So I'll show you that one now. So the next plant over is the Moneymaker. This is the name of the variety, and if I were to be selling those, I would be making money, because I'm gonna bring you closer and show you how many tomatoes I haven't, just this one little plant. It hasn't even grown that much yet. It's only what, up to here, so it's about whatever, 3 feet or 2 feet. So I'll bring you closer so you can see those tomatoes. So right over here at the bottom, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomatoes, and then moving up over here I have another, you can see it over here, I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 10 tomatoes. Over here I have a bunch of blossoms. Over here we have a tomato, that's 11. Over here we're gonna have a tomato, that's 12. And then I have a bunch more blossoms right over here, and then a bunch more blossoms right over there. So I am very optimistic about this plant. It makes me very happy. So 12 tomatoes so far with plenty of blossoms. So not as, the beefsteak, it's not as good, but hey, I'll take whatever I can get. So moving along. So over here it's where I had my 2 cucumber plants, and between the 2 cucumber plants I was able to pick maybe 6 or 7 cucumbers at the most. And back in mid-December, I think it was, we had 2 nights that the temperatures were a little bit below 32, and they just died. One night they just both died. There was no saving, so I just picked the cucumbers that were there. They were pickling cucumbers and they were about that big. But I'm gonna start some new ones in about a month or so, so it was worth a try. So over here I have my parsley and my dill, and they both look pretty picked because I had to make soup the other day, actually 2 pots of soup, so I picked all of the dill and all of the parsley. But it's coming back, so it's gonna be back in about a few days or so. But parsley and dill, they always do well here. And moving along, and this little charming tomato plant was a volunteer plant over where the parsley and the dill are, and it was tiny. It just had the 2 leaves, so I pulled it out and I planted it in this container or pot. So doing pretty good so far. But I will show you another volunteer tomato that I pulled at exactly the same time as this one, and it's doing way better. So this is a volunteer tomato plant as well that I pulled from back there, and it is growing, I have no clue why, it's growing much faster than the other one. And I haven't done any pruning. I'm gonna try and grow it more like a bush than, so I don't want it to get too tall because it's in the pot. So I'm gonna let maybe 3 or 4 suckers grow, and then I'm gonna start trimming it. But as you can see, this one, it has blossoms, and this one for sure it's gonna become a tomato. This one it's gonna become a tomato. So we'll see. Looks good though for a volunteer little thing that I wasn't even planning on saving. So, but I don't like killing them, so I just stick them in a pot. Okay, the bell peppers. So I have 2 bell pepper plants, and I didn't top those off. It just split on its own, and it wasn't doing well at all in October because it was really hot. So it did almost nothing the entire month of October, and then in November started coming back to life, and it's covered in blossoms. So I'll bring you closer so you can see the blossoms. So we have a bunch of blossoms on this one. I can see 4 here, another 3 there, and another 2, 3, 4 over here, and another maybe 1 or 2. So it looks really good. I was a little, oh, there are 2 more here, 3 more here, so right over here. So I was a little disappointed because it wasn't doing well as it was on the other plant too. They just stood like little sticks, but now they're coming back to life, so it's gonna be all good. And this is the other pepper plant, my second pepper plant that wasn't doing well either. And then all of a sudden it started blossoming, and now it's forming peppers. So here we have 1, and over on this side, I'm gonna move the camera so I don't break it. And as you can see over on this side, I have 2 more bell peppers, and here we have a few blossoms as well. So looks good to me. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, at least for the next 2 weeks or whatever, it's gonna be nice. So, all right, we're moving on to go and see some more tomato plants. And over here I have some more parsley growing. It's not doing great, but it's fine. And so this is tomato plant number 1 right here, and it's blossoming, and it already has two pretty tomatoes, and I'll bring you closer to see the tomatoes. Over here we have these two beauties growing, and we have a couple of blossoms. And the tomatoes that you're gonna see here at the end of the video now, I'm not quite sure what varieties they are, but I tasted all of them and they taste good, so doesn't matter if they, as long as they taste good, the variety doesn't matter. Okay, here is a unknown tomato plant number 3, or number 2, I'm sorry. And this one has a little guy here, 1, a little guy here, 2, a little guy over there, 3. So pretty good. And then I have some blossoms here. We have a little tomato back there, a little tomato there. So 5 tomatoes so far. That's not bad at all. Let me see if I can get a closer shot here. So that's a little bit of a closer shot, so you can see what they look like, give you an idea what they're gonna look like when they grow up. They're just babies now. But yeah, quite a few tomatoes on this little plant as well. Okay, moving along to tomato plant number 3. This guy over here, unknown tomato plant number 3, has plenty of blossoms, but no tomatoes yet. Or maybe yes, now that I'm looking at it from close up. Oh yeah, it has tomatoes. It has tomatoes. There it is. Tomato number 1. Tomato number 2. This one is gonna be number 3. Blossoms on the top, so that's good. This one doesn't seem to have any tomatoes. It doesn't have many blossoms either. I'm not sure why, but actually it might be forming a little tomato right over there, but that's it, nothing else. So I'm gonna stay hopeful. I'm not gonna give up on it. And but actually this one was chewed by something. It was chewed right in half, and it had to start growing all over again after, I think it was a ground squirrel or something that broke it in half, but I kept it, so it's still coming. Alright, and this is my champion tomato, unknown tomato, because it's gonna be forming tomatoes right up here, and I already have, on this little plant, I have 2 tomatoes over here. I have another 2 tomatoes right over here, and I have a big one. Let me see if I can show you. And over here I have one that has gotten quite big. So I'm not even sure how big these tomatoes are gonna grow, but I guess I'm just gonna keep an eye on them. But yeah, this tiny little plant has 2, 4, 5 tomatoes plus possible 2 on the top, so that's good. And over here I have some more dill, and more dill over here. And now the question of the day. So I have plenty of dill and parsley. I eat them a lot, so that's why I grow them. But the question of the day, I'm gonna stop and zoom out. I was gonna zoom out, but you're not gonna be able to see anything. So these are my scallions. I have quite a few of them throughout this garden, but when I zoom out you can't even see them. They're just not growing. I planted these scallions in October, so it's been like 3 months and they're taking forever. So if you guys have any tips, I have about 12 of them. If you have any tips on scallions, please let me know, because they're not growing. They've been staying this size for, gosh, probably a month now. So let me know in the comment section if you have any suggestions, but there is something wrong with these guys. And these are fresh seeds that I got from the store, so, well, I'm assuming they're fresh. So you all know that I'm gonna be whining in the summer just a few months from now, but for now I'm enjoying it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if this is your first time visiting my channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I'll see you next time. It's 74 degrees. I'm so happy, like a kid in a candy store.